This is the behind-the-scenes bulletin of the Seraphina Speaks for Children Who Think show. I'm your host, Seraphina Melina Durbin. Let's go right ahead to the bulletin, shall we? That's the sound of nail biting. I do this quite a lot. Recently, I gave myself a challenge to grow a couple of long nails on each hand. I found it wasn't that difficult. It made me question whether my nail biting is a hardcore bad habit or just something I choose to do but can stop. Maybe it's a practice I'm into for the moment, but perhaps it's more than this. I'm Seraphina Melina Durbin, and this is Seraphina Speaks, a podcast for children who think. Who wants to talk about nose picking? Or nail biting? I didn't even cover skin picking. That's a big practice, also called a bad habit. Scab pickers will recognise themselves. You know who you are. You're either someone that can't resist picking scabs, or this just doesn't appeal. It doesn't have to be an actual scab for a skin picker to be interested in scratching, picking, and generally getting at their skin. I didn't mention this, but body-focused repetitive behaviours are recurrent and chronic behaviours inflicted upon the body. Let's add hair pulling to the list. That often results in physical damage. Biting nails till hands bleed. Pulling hair out till there's bald patches. Nose picking till nostrils are red raw. These examples are on the self-injury end of things, rather than a quick picker at a bit of dry skin or nose mucus. One of my big behind-the-scenes discovery was something I started talking about right at the end of the episode. Most of the original bad habit list for kids, things like thumb sucking, nail biting, picking our nose, rocking our body, twirling hair, and public self-touching of the genitals. There are others like procrastinating, putting off things that need to be done. Repetitively gaming or watching TV endlessly are activities that people like me, with ADHD and other neurodiversities, are very likely to display. We might not engage in all these habits, but it's common for neurodiverse people to do some of these practices. What I'm thinking about is the way those of us with neurodiverse brain wiring are kind of shamed to get rid of these behaviours, like they're simple habits we can control. Ignoring all the ways they help us cope with anxiety, manage our impulsivity, and generally soothe us is pretty short-sighted. I'm not saying biting fingers down right down so they bleed, or pulling eyelashes out till they're gone, are good to encourage. That's obvious. It's more about scratching the surface, excuse the pun, to see beyond the habit. I'd be asking what the habit does for the person. I'd also find out when this habit happens and how extreme the effects are in that person's life. Who hasn't felt the urge to squeeze, pick at, or pop a pimple? I absolutely hate it when it's just really gross, to be honest with you. But considering the popularity of 9-season TV show Dr. Pimple Popper, it's obvious humans either love picking or love watching pimples being popped. Why would you even make a show like that, though? Whether people do this because they're bored, because they're itchy, or for the sheer pleasure of that pop, pimple picking isn't going to go away. I really hope it is. I've got to tell you, my bigger sisters love popping their siblings' pimples, not just their own. They won't be happy I told you. I'm trying not to be judgy. Despite the insane success of Dr. Pimple Popper, some habits are treated like dirty secrets. Have you noticed a grown-up in your life picking their nose? Maybe a teacher or a parent? Do they do it up front and open, or not so much? Maybe you know an adult who chews their nails, or bites the inside of their cheek a lot. Do they do this when they're stressed, or cross, or sad? Start looking out for these so-called bad habits. If you're feeling like it, you could start a conversation about habits at home or at school. I believe when we talk about things like this, it takes the secretiveness away from them. Being human is a huge experience, and it includes these coping habits. Let's make them normal rather than bad. What do you think, listeners? Don't forget, if you'd like to join my correspondent team, all you have to do is, first, leave a review for this show on your fave podcast app. Then take a screenshot and send it to me at Seraphina@seraphinaspeaks.com. That's Seraphina@seraphinaspeaks.com. Then I'll be in touch with you with more info about being on my show. Next week's episode is called Things I Don't Care About. Oh my friends, I'm being naughty. Don't misunderstand me, it's a serious episode. I'll bring you my thoughts on a topic we don't really talk about. I'm not meaning to offend. Tune in to hear about the things I don't care about. Trying not to spoil things here, but I promise, this is something that affects you too. I hope you'll join me to find out more. Thanks for listening today, everyone. Remember, smash that subscribe button and tell your friends, family and teachers to listen in too. Till then, much love. I hope you enjoyed this bulletin, everybody. If you like what you hear, click the subscribe button. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for all your support.